Howard Stern tells Terry Gross his pure ID days are behind him. Looking back on his early career, Howard Stern remembers being petrified that he wasn't going to be able to make a living. All the sexual antics, the religious antics, the race antics, everything that I talked about, every outrageous thing that I did, was to entertain my audience and grow my audience, he says. Whether you liked it or not, or the person down the street liked it or not, I didn't care as long as I kept growing that audience. Stern ultimately grew an audience of millions over a 4-decade career. First on terrestrial radio and now on satellite radio. At 65, Stern says he's not the raunchy shock jock he once was. If I hadn't grown and evolved and changed, I don't know that I could still be on the radio, he admits. Stern's new book, Howard Stern Comes Again, is a collection of some of his most memorable interviews with celebrity guests, including Madonna, Mike Tyson, Jerry Seinfeld, Harvey Weinstein and Donald Trump. With 2 years left in his contract at SiriusXM, Stern says he's not sure what's next for him. I am kind of afraid of retirement, he says. It's like on any given day I don't know, and this disturbs me that I don't know myself well enough. I don't really know what it is I want, and what I want to do. For now, Stern is the happiest he's ever been in radio. I think where I am at now is the perfect place, he says. Interview highlights. On how therapy changed his interviews. Gross. Your interviewing approach has changed over the years, you go deeper. You have more empathy. You've said when you think of the interviews you did during the first couple of decades on your show, that you cringe. And that therapy was a turning point for you. You started therapy, 20 years ago? Stern. I remember the first day very clearly. What was so profound for me, and why I signed on, I sat there with the psychoanalyst, the psychiatrist, and I said, oh, I guess I'll tell you about myself. And I started to go into a fabulous routine that I'd done many times on the radio. I would start talking about my parents and complete with impressions. I am going into this elaborate thing, and he stops me cold, looks at me, he says, I don't find any of this funny. I was like, hey, what the hell is he talking about? I mean, I get paid a lot of money to do this stuff. He goes, no, I find it rather sad. And why are you telling me stories? Why are you not talking to me about anything real? I had no clue what he was talking about. I had never sat alone in a room with any human being on this planet and been listened to in a real way. Everything with me was shtick and funny, and that's how my family related. On how therapy helped him focus his interviews on the guests. Stern. I began to contemplate. How about bringing in a guest here and there and really having a real conversation? What if I could let the other person